What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Join alongside Emilio in Tennessee for a few moments here. Anyway, Emilio, appreciate you jumping on. We got Tim in Green Bay. We'll have Jacob joining us here in a second. Obviously, it was the 10th open practice to the public today in Green Bay. Tim was boots on the ground. We're excited to dive into all the action. So what we're going to cover here tonight, we're going to give you an injury update. We're going to give you some Jordan Love highlights from practice. We'll give you some Matthew Golden highlights from practice as he continues to impress. We got defensive highlights, and then we're going to kind of do a quick rapid fire, just practice recap, everything that went on out there on the practice field today. But before we do that, you guys do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thanks for making us a part of your evening. Listen, we're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media members. What we are fans just like you in here talking Packers pretty much every single day. We're going to be doing pregame shows, postgame shows, in-depth analysis. We'll be doing film breakdown, the whole 9 yards. So if you're looking for daily Packers content, make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you click that bell icon so you'll get notified every time we do go live. Emilio, Tim, we doing all right today, gents?
Yes, sir.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. Let's get into it. Tim, you were down there, boots on the ground at practice. Before we dive into all the details, I love to just get a minute, 2 minutes of what was the vibe like today? What was the weather like? How did it feel out there on the practice field today, man?
Still kind of crummy air quality, but the guys got their work in today and plenty of water breaks, the usual stuff. But the intensity continues to ratchet up. It seems like every practice is getting a little more and more intense. And I'm not going to spill the tea with names or anything, but I heard a couple of the coaches after practice, kind of on the walkthrough back over to the facility, making conversation about today being a medium or a hard day. And they both kind of confirmed that today was medium and tomorrow's going to be a hard day. So the intensity is going to step up even more tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to it for sure.
There you go. Good stuff, man. All right, let's get into the injury report. All right, so Packers public training camp practice number 10 returned today was tight end Tucker Kraft. He had a groin injury. Obviously, he sat out a family night, and he was back today. This is Wes Hykowitz with the update. Did not participate. Emilio, we have Emmanuel Wilson with the knee, Dontavion Wicks with the calf, Nate Hobbs with the knee. I want to just mention briefly, Nate Hobbs had a minor procedure done. Sound like it might have been a knee clean out. They're expecting him back for week 1 per Bill Huber. So
my knee.
Nothing to worry about there. We got tackle Quay Walker with the groin. He did not participate. Offensive lineman Travis Glover.
Oh, Emilio.
Rehab.
Emilio, a Kleenex real quick. Wipe those tears.
Yeah, no worries.
No worries at all. He's just trying to give these other guys a chance to catch up, right?
Absolutely.
That's all it is. Cornerback Kamal Haddon with the hip. You had defensive lineman Aaron Mosby with the groin. Running back Marshawn Lloyd with the groin. Wide receiver Christian Watson with the knee, still working that rehab process. Defensive end Colin Oliver with the hammy. And offensive line John Williams. Now, listen, I feel like they're being extra cautious, and we're getting ready to get into preseason week 1. You see some of these guys, Emilio, that are probably going to be, you got several starters there, but you got some that's probably number 2s on the team. Yep. You want to make sure that this week, what it's all about, in my opinion, is the 3s and the 4s is what you really want to get a good look at, right, the first week of preseason, and then get the rest of these guys back, get them shaped up, and, maybe the second and third game of preseason. I think this is mostly precautionary. I don't see anybody here that I'm like, probably going to start on the pup, other than, of course, our boy Christian Watson, maybe Colin Oliver since he's so far behind. But what do you think of the injury report here, Emilio?
Yeah, I think the only other person that has a chance for pup there would be John Williams with that back. The way Goody was talking about it earlier, it seemed like it would be kind of a long-term thing, but, we'll see. And to that point, it was either DJ and Buck or Greg Cosell. They were talking, you only get so much practice time, right? You only get so much game time. So you kind of do have to get through, like you were saying, 3rd and 4th now. Get them on there, get as much tape as you can because your time gets crunched down. You still need to make a decision on players. I think Matt was even talking about it. Hey, we're kind of all over and we really need to cinch it down, this week and the week after and try to figure out our position. What are you doing? How many reps? Not just sort of, basic and kind of more, broadcast, training and things like that. Let's try to clean it up. Let's figure out what we need, who we need to see out there and kind of get those reps moving for them.
Yeah. What about you, Tim? How do you see it, buddy?
Yeah, I would agree with Emilio's point. A couple of the guys that I actually saw today doing their rehab was Tay Wicks and Emmanuel Wilson. They were doing some work on the medicine balls and just kind of testing mobility and things like that. They look pretty good. But yeah, this is just that unfortunate time. We actually made it, pretty far into training camp before we had any actual injury issues. I'm actually surprised we didn't get some of these popping up sooner. So I think you're right, man. Going into this year, we want to be as healthy as we can, but unfortunately, we haven't even played one preseason game. And, there's a handful of names here on this list that we would have really liked to see get some of those reps. And it looks like, at least for this week, we're probably not going to see them. Colin Oliver being the first name that comes to mind. That was a guy I was looking forward to seeing out there. So we'll see what happens with that hammy.
Yeah, for sure. Jacob, we got Jacob joining us now. Obviously, we're just jumping into the injuries here. And the injury update. Tucker Kraft returning, obviously great news here. And everything else is kind of pretty much still status quo here in terms of the injury report. Anything you want to add to that before we move along? Because we did have a signing today as well.
It's tough to see, like Tim said, this time of year. It seems like the injuries are starting to stack up, even though we were pretty privileged to not have many going into this. Have you talked about Nate Hobbs already?
Yeah.
Okay. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I just kind of heard it and didn't get much to delve into it. Is it something that's going to be ready for the start of the season, you think?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's the plan.
Word on the street, right? That's what these Twitter screets are talking about right here. That he'll be a good to go for week one, hopefully. So hopefully missing the whole preseason doesn't affect him as far as like playing speed and everything. But I'm sure once he's good to go, they'll get him out there.
Yeah, that's what I was more worried about, was just what's going on with Hobbs. Obviously now we see why we signed a guy like Ballantyne, break glass in case of emergency, and how we've, me and Clay were looking at depth charts last night, and just overnight, all of a sudden that whole depth chart starts to look a lot different when you start looking at injuries like this. But I hope everything works out by the time we get the guys for week one. I think we'll be good.
Yeah, and like I was saying just before you hopped on, Jacob, Nate Hobbs sounded like it was just a minor procedure, a clean out. And I know Christian Watson's dad made a couple comments on Twitter.
Whoa, we've got new info, though, on Hobbs. It's not –
I thought it was a meniscus.
Yeah, meniscus.
Right, yeah, it was a minor tear, right, and they had to go in there and clean it out, right? So
I love those. I had a C tear on the meniscus. I mean, it's like the film in between the two knuckles. When it's when it's rubbing around on the knee, it's that film in between them.
Yeah, so they probably had to go in there and get some of that excess out. I would imagine is probably what happened, Amelia. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, if it wasn't a full tear or anything like that, because I mean, it kind of looks like a disc almost, and I had a C tear, so it kind of came across all the way down. But if it wasn't torn or anything, I'm sure they just kind of cleaned up some of the fluid or whatever's kind of hanging around there.
Yeah. Now listen, things could go wrong. Don't take this the wrong way. Like it could take a turn for the worse, but the vibe I'm getting is everything's good. Give him a couple weeks off of it, and then get him in practicing the week before, probably that where we don't have a preseason game there that final week of the preseason, if you will, right? And get him back in the practice fold. Hopefully he doesn't kill any of our offensive players out there on the field, and we'll be all right. You know what I mean? So I know there were some rumors that's, hey, is this Matt LaFleur saying, let's just hold him out until we get to the regular season so he doesn't hurt anybody? I think that's kind of silly, me personally.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I think it was legit an injury, just like with our boy Elton Jenkins. I think he legit had something going on with his back. It seems like it doesn't mean he didn't want a contract early on, but yeah. So I don't see it as anything to worry about right now, Jacob, since you were kind of asking. But you never know, man. Sometimes things can happen. I know when they had Nate Hobbs in the locker room earlier today, he seemed very upbeat. Very, very upbeat.
I was going to just quick ask about your comment. Did you happen to watch his interview where he mentioned how strong he is in his faith and how he believes that this is just God testing him? And like, dude, I really have grown to love Nate Hobbs. And that's why I was at work all day, and I just saw in a group message, one of my Viking fans was like, there goes Hobbs. And my heart sank. I was like, no. And I didn't get a chance to really, like I said, get into the details until the ride home. And just hearing the kid talk, man, the way that he like you said, you got to respect a guy that doesn't give a crap what you think about his faith and the way he talks about it. And I was just very impressed with him.
Yeah. When your Vikings fan buddy there said, there goes Nate Hobbs, did you say, there goes Jordan Addison?
I did actually. I took a screenshot of the TV at the time and I said, well, 1 for 1 here.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't heard, we'll be real quick here. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on Vikings talk, but the NFL suspended Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison without pay for the first 3 games of the 2025 regular season for violating the NFL substance of abuse policy. Addison is permitted to participate in all training camp activities, including preseason games. So there you go. Wide receiver number 2. I feel comfortable saying he's wide receiver number 2 in Minnesota. So
yeah.
What substance was he abusing?
I thought he got a TDY.
Ozempic?
That was a Dewey, yeah.
Yeah, Dewey. It was Uncle Dewey got him. Uncle Dewey slapped him right there on the ass. Mm-hmm. It happens. Happens with the best of them. All right, let's get back to the Packers talk. Sorry, I just had to work that in there, Jacob, since you wish we had the Vikings early this year. H.E. Soder says, I look at stuff different than that, Soder. I want these teams at their best, dude. I want them at their best. Obviously, we play the Vikings. It's going to be a little later in the season. We got them week 12, and then we got them the last week there too.
I believe it's 18. Yep,
week 18. So, I kind of like that's like with the Detroit Lions. You know, they're a little banged up, obviously, on the defensive front, but at the same time, I would rather them be fully healthy. That way, there's no excuses. Let's go in there and just crack skulls, let the best team win, I think. So, yeah. Rob Domofsky had tweeted out another roster move. Wide receiver Sam Brown Jr. had a groin, has been waived injured. Okay. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. When they waive a player injured, that's typically it, right? Like they don't even try to bring them back later in the year. That's how I kind of remember these things playing. I want to say they when you waive them injured, don't you have some kind of injury settlement? And now they move on. They move on to another team. They can't be signed by the team that waived them. I could be wrong there, but nonetheless, we went and signed offensive lineman Lasitas Smith. All right. Now, obviously, he's been on the roster before, and I think this is just something like, hey, let's get a guy. It's much like the Corey Ballantyne situation, right? Get a guy in here, Tim, that is familiar with the team, knows the offense, just like Corey Ballantyne, probably has a pretty good grab of the defense, at least having a full year there with Jeff Hafley. So I like this. We'll see what happens. So what do you think?
It's moves like this that, you know, from my perspective as a fan, it gives me faith in my staff that we're doing what we need to do to cover our bases. You know, Jacob made a great comment about Ballantyne. You know, Ballantyne's not going to come in and be a world beater for you and be your CB1 or anything. But he does. He raises the floor and he gives you a little bit of a security blanket in your DB room, which, you know, has kind of got a few question marks. Let's be honest. You know, I love our guys, but you know, there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, and bringing in a steady pool of talent is going to help. And it applies the same logic to the O-line. I mean, we're still trying to figure out what's going on at left tackle, right? You know, we got to figure out backup center. We've got to figure out, you know, some pieces there. So I like the moves, man. I really do.
Yeah, Blake B says Lasitas 316, Emilio. I think that is thou shalt not take Travis Glover's job. Is that what that is?
Yeah, that is exactly what it says. Because we need
thou
to get
shall not line up in the neutral zone.
Yeah, please. Please, we don't need that. Obviously, we're going to need somebody to take the reps. Someone's got to take the handoff. Someone's got to block for, you know, Malik, whoever else is out there. So I'm for it. You know, you got a couple injuries on the O-line. You would thought that you had, you know, John Williams playing, and he's not. So you got to make do with what you have.
Yeah, and here we go. One final injury update. Mike Spofford tweeted out linebacker Quay Walker taking his first 11-on-11 reps this summer for the Packers. Run D making things difficult for Josh Jacobs. Love not getting many clean pockets early either. Nice seam for Savion Williams on an end around. Then a bad shotgun snap. Defense continuing strong work from Family Night. So Quay Walker returns. We'll talk about that bad snap here in a little bit as Elton Jenkins continues to try to work the rust off there, missing some probably pretty valuable time since you're the new center. But Quay Walker's back. Tim, you have the floor here, and I want to get Jacob's take. This is exciting, man. This is kind of what we talked about, you know, is him. Let's ease him back into it and make sure he's ready for week 1.
It was so good to see that today. I was over there looking for him in the rehab group, and I didn't see that jersey, and I started scratching my head going, okay, where's Quay? Where's Quay? And then lo and behold, there he is running 11-on-11s with the team. So I would anticipate they're going to continue to increase his load further and further so that we can get him ready to go as quickly as possible without also rushing him back too soon. So this is a huge step for him in that rehab coming off that ankle surgery.
Yeah. Jacob, you got anything else on Quay here, man? It's great news, obviously, right?
Yeah, Ed Madden talking about what I'm most excited is to see these two monsters on the field at the same time. And if for whatever reason, if it is more of a traditional 4-3 type set, you add in a guy like either a McDuffie or Isaiah Simmons, which is kind of an unknown, that could be an absolute spark plug that we're not really thinking about that could really be a difference maker. And I know Matt LaFleur today, when asked about Quay, he said, he's the quarterback of the defense. So obviously when he's on the field, they're a better defense. And the more that they can have that continuity, play with each other, get comfortable, especially going into the second year with half and that scheme that he's been implementing, it's just going to make, I think, a world of difference. And I don't think you're going to have many people that if you don't have that quarterback of the defense firing at all cylinders to start the year, it's tough to think that we're going to have that type of sophomore season that I believe Hafley's going to.
Definitely. She said, Murph, everybody in the chat pointing out that I'm not following Mike Spofford here. So I have Mike Spofford added to a special list, so I get notified when he tweets. However, drum roll, boys, we're going to give him a follow. You ready?
Big money, no whammy.
Man, you guys missed it too. Tim popped that up.
Yeah, it's all fake. Yeah, it's all edited anyway. It doesn't matter.
There you go, boys. Mike Spofford has arrived. He's going, who the hell is this guy just following? What a weirdo.
At least it's not this guy, right?
That guy follows you too. He just follows you around the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? So.
This is the exact person you go to whenever you need a Werther's original.
Yeah. Is it just me, or does that guy's check liver light look like it's on too? Like, seriously, he's running in the red on some Jack Daniels. You know what I mean? All right, let's move it along. Let's get into some highlights.
Broccoli.
What? What's wrong?
No, just the chats, man. Oh,
why do you do this to me every time, Jay? This is why we can't have nice things.
It's Emilio's fault.
Yeah, it's always Emilio's fault. All right, let's talk a little Jordan Love. Let's hit some of the highlights from earlier today. And this came in from the Fan 107.5, actually tweeted this clip originally. And you see our boy Jay Love just, putting it right on a dime, bang, on the run.
That's how you do it, Caleb.
That's how you hit the left side of the TV, right?
Man, it's just he's looking good. The legs look good.
He does.
Somebody's going to clip that. The legs look good. It just he just seems like he's completely healthy, right, Emilio? And again, throwing across your body, running to your left, not an easy thing to do. And he just makes it look effortless, man. He really does. I think he's in a good place.
Downhill, put it on a line. I mean, that's all you can ask for. Put it in the bucket. Put it in the net. I love it.
What was that?
I was going to say put it in the bucket, but
okay.
No, but yeah, he does. He really does look great. I mean, I'm happy that his legs are back in good shape and back to use, man.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, how did he look out there today, man? Anything stick out to you about Jordan Love today?
I told you, man, he wears number 10 because he only throws dimes. J Money is he's ready. You can tell he's excited to be healthy and going into a season without anything holding him back really. And I can't wait to see them just turn him loose on a couple of these series here later on in the preseason. I'm not sure how often we'll see him early, but I'm looking forward to seeing J Money run this offense. Malik Willis was hitting on some of these throws too. Another one of our passers that's great, rolling left and throwing across the body. But yeah, Jordan looks like he's in the best shape of his life. You can tell he's taken steps, physically and mentally, really, as a player and as a leader on this team. So it's just fun to see him out here humming that tater, as we say, right?
Yeah, Jacob, before I see Mark's comment here, I was actually going to mention this, man. He says, are his legs bigger? To me, it looks like he put on a little muscle this year, look a little bit thicker. And Jacob, I know you working out at the club, you know all about this. So what do you think here? Let's break it. Love put on a little bit of good weight this offseason?
I think so. I think he's young enough and old enough at the same time to remember that when Aaron Rodgers kind of had those revitalized seasons, that he emphasized how he worked out his legs a lot more than he ever did. And then obviously after Love suffers an unfortunate groin injury and then some other kind of tweaks here and there throughout the season, maybe it sparked something in his mind. Hey, man, I got to start doing some like what hurts the guy that can squat like 600 pounds or whatever the case is. I'm not saying Jordan's up to that level, but maybe he threw a couple extra plates on this season and now he's repping like Emilio in the garage. You know what I mean?
Ooh, you know it.
So this tweet came out from our good buddy Baz over at Basarski Productions. I would say, hey, go give him a follow, go give him a YouTube sub, but I promise you, He don't need us to say that. My man is cooking over there. If you guys are following his channel, which I'm sure you are, great content. I mean, there's nobody better than Baz. But he posted this clip here, and I think it actually came from Pat Clips. Shout out to him. You see, I am following him or her, right? But nonetheless, love to Doubs for the deep touchdown. Guys, look at this right here. Will somebody come look at this? Watch this dime picture. Look, just drop back, clean pocket, let that thing rip. And Doubs is hands. The way Doubs goes below the hip, Emilio, and just snags this ball, does it not look effortless, Emilio?
That's one of those where it's like I was in cover 4 and somehow the third receiver beat me deep with a streak, and you got 3 dudes running after him, and you're never catching them. I love that he got under it, gave him a chance. And dude, if we start seeing some of that in the season, it's over. I mean, perfect pocket, build a wall around J Love, protect that man, and let him hum it.
Yeah, and listen, I will say this: Romeo, obviously last year was up and down, the suspension, the 2 concussions, blah blah blah. He's playing for his career this year. Like it is a contract year, and whether or not the Packers want to re-sign him, Jacob, one thing's for sure: there's another team that's going to look to pick him up if the Packers do decide to move on. And you know what? That's good news for us too. If the Packers don't sign him and someone else pays him borderline wide receiver 1 money, and somebody pays Quay Walker borderline number 1 tackle money, you're talking about a flurry of comp picks coming.
We're getting some nice picks there. I agree. Then I guess that's one way of looking at it. Trying to keep the glass half full, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And I think that's a smart way to go about it. Don't get your hopes up too much, and also understand that worst case scenario still means that we get some pretty good draft compensation where, on any given draft, I know that we could, to have an extra 3rd or a 4th or even a 5th, it really does add up when you start seeing the way that we've dive deep into these drafts. And, I do think too, that just to note that I do obviously believe that a lot of different teams would be knocking on Dobbs's door if it comes to that point. I think what's more impressive too is the way that I think he's matured as a person. We have the clips, we have the memes, of all of the funny stuff that he's done.
I just caught the ball.
Perfect, right on time. And he's I think understood that his demeanor, while sometimes it's unique and a little cool, edgy, whatever you want to say, he does have to kind of show that he's okay and that he enjoys football, he enjoys his teammates, he enjoys the city. I think he's grown.
Yeah, and Tim, one thing that I love about the Romeo Doubs and how he's arguably got the best hands on the team now, that wasn't the case when he got to the NFL. I remember the reports coming out that he was staying after practice on the jugs machine because he kept dropping the ball, right? And this is a perfect example of people like Dontavion Wicks, or maybe it's Savion Williams, who had a pretty high drop rate in college. If you get on the jugs machine, you can fix that. That can be fixed, and gives you a lot of hope. But what do you think about Rome here, man? I mean, he cooked the defense and then late hands, beautiful, man.
Yeah, awesome. And I think a lot of it is him doing those drills, the jugs machine and the hand-eye coordination drills. I think Rome's big issue when he had the drop problem was he wasn't looking them all the way in. You got to look that ball in sometimes, especially when you're streaking down the field, tracking a ball at 50, 60 yards in the air. If you take your eye off for 1 second at the end, you're going to drop the ball. So I think his hand-eye coordination's improved. And, like to the point about, Rome's demeanor, in the media or in the locker room, post-game, that kind of stuff. I tell you, when he's on that football field, he's a totally different person. I think the football field is Rome's happy place. I think he's extremely talkative, definitely smiles a lot on the football field, and is definitely more outgoing. So, on the field is where you really see that personality shine. And, we can talk about, the type of compensation we're going to get for a guy like this in a potential trade. And it's true, and it does bode well for our organization, but I don't want to see Rome going anywhere, man. I'm way too old for this. I don't know if I'd predict it and say that he's not going anywhere, because anything can happen in this business, but the fan in me wants 87 on this team. I think he makes this already dynamic receiving room that much better. I really like Rome.
Yeah, I think that's true. Just real quick, we do have a jugs machine at the club. It's just a little different.
All right, moving along. So Baz with another tweet here from Pat Clips, and this is Jaden Reed cooking Javon Bullard. Javon Bullard, listen, he sparked a lot of conversation today. And, people were piling on him pretty hard. Guys, we're not going to be playing as much man coverage as you're seeing in training camp. So the beautiful thing about Bullard's game, plays really well in zone, right? Plays really well out of the slot, in my opinion, way better than safety. It's going to be very, very rare that they're going to ask him to play a mirror match press, which is essentially what you've got here, against a 2, right? Not a number 2 receiver, but in the 2. It's going to be rare that happens. Most of the time, I'm going to be in a zone look. So with that being said, I'm not overly concerned about Bullard, but this is just Jaden Reed. And I seen 2-0 for this comment. I got to respectfully disagree with that. I think it was 2-0 for this that said about Doubs over Reed, I believe, trade Reed. Reed has been so much more productive than Doubs. And Reed did it, in a shorter amount of time. To me, Reed is the guy that kind of makes this offense go from a receiver standpoint. I could be wrong, though, man. We may be looking up in a month or two, and you're right, and he is the one that gets dealt. Maybe they extend Doubs. I like them both, and I love to have them both on the roster for the entirety of the season because I think that's going to play a huge role. You're getting a motivated Romeo Doubs, and you're getting a Jaden Reed that led the team in receiving the last 2 years. I don't know, man. And obviously he can do a lot of other things as well, but this is just another perfect example of what's the footwork on Jaden Reed here, Jacob. I mean, just very, very subtle. If I can loop it, maybe. Let's see if we can loop it. Look at the bang inside out and just a foot race and beats Bullard. Guys, you remember Bullard had a hell of an RAS, right? Like he was in the upper 9, if I remember correctly, like above a 9.5 maybe. Somebody wants to fact check that. He's definitely over 9 RAS. And this is just Jaden Reed. He's just faster guy. And again, subtle, smooth right there, a little stutter step inside, Jacob, and then cooking him on the 9 fade.
Yeah, I don't think that Bird's going anywhere. He's just been the most consistent player, I believe, also in that wide receiver room. Obviously, we struggled with some drops more than we would like last year, but all of them did. And that's not an excuse, but it is what it is. As far as production-wise, I agree with you. As far as just him kind of finding that zone, him coming in another year where he just understands the system. He's got more continuity with the coaches, with the playing, the scheme that LaFleur's asked him to do, and his individual role on the team. I think each year gets a little more defined. And I whereas years past, I don't want to see him back returning punts. Okay, just stop that. We don't need to do it anymore. It's not his niche on this team. But in other ways, I think we need to let him grow and find certain other things. And we've got some younger guys. We got some quicker guys, some gadget guys. So maybe just let him focus on being a very highly touted route runner and actually executing and maybe being, and I could see him honestly becoming more of, I don't want to say the X receiver, but just kind of a go-to for Love.
Yeah, I can see it. And again, I've talked about this, Tim. People just see him predominantly as a slot receiver, and that's not what the tape showed. The tape showed that he can play outside, and it's much what Greg Cosell talked about throughout the draft process, not specifically Jaden Reed's year coming out in the draft, but just, really talking about Matthew Golden this year, saying, hey, look, people are looking at slot reps, when in all honesty, they may start in a slot and they motion out and you turn into a moving Z and you're running outside choice concepts,
Exactly. And it's fun to watch him at the practice field working with Matthew Golden. We talk about iron sharpening iron, right? Like, I think Bird's going to be instrumental in the development of Matthew Golden. We've got a tape for days of footwork for Matthew Golden that looks like a guy that's been playing in the NFL for 10 years already. And, he's, barely getting his feet wet here as a rookie. So guys like Jaden Reed make your football team better, And then as far as, Javon Bullard getting cooked here, guys, 90% of DBs get cooked in these type of drills. The best in the business get cooked routinely in these one-on-one kind of press coverage type of drills. It's more of I think they're looking more at the receiver, right? I mean, it's a receiver-led type drill, quarterback drill. But in Bullard's defense, I mean, he doesn't quit on the play. He knows he's cooked right there, but he's going to close out and, not quit on the play. You love that in him. And we've always known that coverage is not his strong suit. So, the more he works on it, if he can make that an attribute to his game, then, we can talk about him, being a true, cover corner. I think that's why they decided to keep him listed as a safety, even though they're going to drop him into the slot on occasion. I think we might get to see some Javon Bullard, playing back there. I don't know if necessarily post safety, but maybe swapping spots with Evan Williams on a few of these looks we could see. But At the end of the day, Bull is a bulldog, right? And he's gonna be that slot bully that you want. I'm not too worried about a little bit of shaky coverage there on a one-on-one. Like Clay was saying, we're not going to ask him to do that a lot. It's going to be playing a lot of zone.
Real quick, Bates did say that he had an 8.25 RAS. I'm not sure if that was under the safety or the cornerback moniker, but I agree kind of what Tim just said is what Coach Len's saying. I bet
it was safety, Jake. It was safety.
Safety. Okay. So he thinks that Bill will be in on early downs, probably playing maybe in that slot position to try to control that run. And depending on the down and distance, will probably snap back, let him, obviously Evan and X take control of that. And that to me right now would be the perfect way to utilize him, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so another guy getting a little practice time. Shout out to Ryan Wood over on X for this video. Jordan Love getting a rep in with Packers rookie Savion Williams. Nothing flashy here, right? But you'll notice the far side receiver, and you see Savion. I think he runs a little curl route, right? Chop it down, grab and go. It's a big old boy right there at wide receiver, guys. Really excited to see what Savion can do. That's another guy, Tim. Going to see him in preseason, man. Hopefully, right? Let me ask you that. Obviously today, was he limited today or was he just full participation? Have we seen him in 11-on-11 yet, Tim? Do you know for sure or not?
I didn't personally, but possibly. I know today's the most action we've seen out of him in a while. So I think he was a full go.
Yeah, you can probably understand where I'm going here. I'm wondering, is he going to play against the Jets? So we wait another week, then try to get him some preseason reps the following week. I don't really know, but nonetheless, man, Savion, it's exciting. Him and Matthew. Is that Matthew Golden here on the near side
near
too?
Side 22. Yep.
Dude, he's so smooth, man.
He is.
And the way he catches, watch Savion. There's nothing that Savion really does wrong here, Jacob. Watch him catch the ball. Okay. Now watch Matthew Golden catch the ball. There's just something about Matthew Golden. It's just the way he snatches, he attacks the ball. Bang.
Yep.
Upfield. It's just, he's smooth as butter, man.
He said that numerous times. If that ball's up in the air, I'm gonna go get it. I'm not waiting for that ball to get to me. I'm gonna bring that ball in. And you love that in him. But Savion, again, one of those guys, if it were up to me, for my money, get him on the field as soon as possible. If he's good to go, he's cleared, and he can play against the Jets on Saturday, I say get him out there and get him a lot of reps. And let's see how consistent he can stay on the field. That to me has been the big concern. He had the shoulder issue. We knew that when we drafted him. We had a little concussion scare, a couple other things going on. And it's part of the game, right? It's football. You're going to get banged up. Things happen. But I want to see, are you the type of player that can bounce back and get back to the field and, not be a guy that's missing multiple weeks due to injuries. We've seen that numerous times with young receivers, and it sucks, right? It's frustrating. It can kind of screw up your development. You can't make the club in the tub. So it's good to see him out there catching passes, and hopefully we see him this weekend in the preseason.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move along to some Matthew Golden highlights. Shout out to Ryan.
This is the one right here.
Yeah, man.
Oh my goodness. You want to see some footwork. Woo!
Yeah, you're going to see, we're going to show 3 or 4 clips here, right? And this one's from Ryan Wood. But just he's just so smooth. There's one that's a dig. Woo-hoo-hoo, boy. Let's watch it, though. Let's see our boy Matthew Golden here. And this is just against coaches. This is slow motion. There's no wasted movement whatsoever when it comes to 22, right? Again here, so going to chop it down, little hitch route. This is what he did well at Texas. Now he's going to toe tap it here, I believe.
Yes. Look at the feet.
Yeah. And at Texas, if you'll remember, Texas, he would take that. He would curl in, fade out, and then bend back inside and make them miss, right? This is just simply what I've always called a hitch route. Maybe you guys notice something else. Maybe it's a comeback. There's, different. I've always heard hitch out, curl in. You may call it something different, but Jacob, man, the hands, is he not smooth, man? Look at that. 4 feet in on that play.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just the precision, the route running, the way that you said it looks effortless. I laughed because apparently on this post or whatever, tool for this says that someone asked why the ball took so long to get there, and Ryan Wood replied, "It's in slow-mo." But even though it is slow-mo, I mean, like you said, the no wasted movement, you watch how he cuts in and out of routes, it's very impressive. And the way that he turns back and is able to see that sideline and then get the 4 mini chop steps up in there, that's impressive, guy.
I saw Bears fans hating on the post. I know you saw some of that, Clayton. Oh, everybody looks good in slow motion.
Not Caleb.
I would disagree. I think slow motion magnifies your flaws even more. If you're, you're going to see it easier. The fact that he looks so smooth like this, it's a sign that I think we've got a star wide receiver for sure.
Yeah, Coach Lynn said that was a 22-yard comeback, I believe he said, right? And that's Jordan that throws that. And you can see as he fades out of the picture, he's looking left, right? And then fire into the right. So obviously hold the safety, hammer the comeback. Now watch in the background here, you'll see Savion Williams run a slant route. If you'll watch now off to the side, you'll see him come into the picture. Let's watch his hands on this play in ultra slow motion before we move along. So you see Savion, that's kind of a lazy route. That's all right, though. He's still getting the swing of things. Pretty good hands grab, right? Watched it in. So we're good there. But, yeah, Matthew Golden looking good, man, no doubt about it. We got another clip here, Tim. This might be one of them that you were thinking of, too. This is tweeted out by Jacob Morley, and it came from Pack Clips as well. And this is Matthew Golden. I think he is absolutely cooking Keyshawn Nixon. Another example, man coverage. We'll see if it's actual press or mirror match press man. But 1-versus-1s will always favor the offense. Thank you, Jacob Morley, for putting that out there. This guy knows ball. But this is crisp, not a 7-second TikTok route. Not sure what that was. With fancy feet. Concise, quick separation is what wins in this league. Golden has got it. Let's watch this route here, boys. This is crispy. Listen, viewer discretion is advised. If you got kids in the room, cover their eyes, all right? This is filthy. Look, off the prep. Woo! Gone.
Wow.
I mean, that's like 5 yards of separation instantly, right? Here, bye, I'm gone. Look at that. Look at all that space.
And that's not full press, right? You see Key is trying to reroute him outside. Yep. So you can tell he's kind of playing with some outside technique there. But look at Golden, he's so smooth. The way he stops, Jacob. Watch his feet right here.
That change of direction while the feet are moving that quickly is almost unbelievable. Look at that.
This is what you've seen all over the college tape. We talk about body. I think it was it might have been Drew who was talking about earlier. You know, he knows where he's at on the field at all times, right? Drew says here, who can stop like that? Body control, man. I'm telling you, body control, Tim, and balance is so underrated in the league. It doesn't get we always talk about 40 times and acceleration and this and that and you know what is it? Vertical jumps and composite explosion grade, all those things. Balance, man, is huge.
And body control. Balance and body control. I think this rep highlights it. If you look at Matthew Golden's head the whole time he's running the route. He's never getting down or off center. He's not allowing himself to waste any motion because he's got such good posture and balance in the route. I mean, we talked about that before the draft when we were looking at Texas tape about him just not wasting any motion whatsoever. He runs very crisp, compressed, concise routes. And I mean, he just absolutely cooks here and makes it look too easy.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we got a couple more clips here. This next one comes in from Marcus Eversole. I don't know. Is he still doing his show, Better Call Eversole? I used to listen to that all the time, and it was a great show. I don't know. Sometimes the algorithm gets kicked around, but he just said Matthew Golden content. All right, so we'll see if we can get in here, make sure we don't get no curse words. But look at that. So that's the hitch we've seen. It's not in slow motion, so now you've seen it in full speed here, right? Got Dobby there watching off on the sideline too. Not sure if he was holding his side. Might have caught something we wasn't supposed to there. I don't know, but. Yeah, Matthew Golden, man, just smooth as butter. Let's go to the next one. So here's just a quick little sit route, right? A little sit. You can call it a curl, what have you. Again, watch the feet. Watch how quick he gets into this setup here. Bang, and we're gone. That is so smooth, man. And it just for a rookie, Jake, the attention to detail. I'm sure Coach Lynn is just over here losing his mind. The attention to detail and the footwork right there. Like, notice how there's no stumbling into the sit. Watch his right foot bang, right?
That is just precise.
Yeah.
You talk about attention to detail, of course, Affam in the chat. That ref really earning that check. That would be you, Affam. You would see the referee in the clip as we're breaking down tape.
Yeah, exactly. But is it just not smooth? I mean, Golden.
Yeah, my head keeps wanting, or my brain keeps wanting to say it's effortless, which I feel like is almost a double-edged compliment because it seems like that as if he's not trying. That's not the case. I'm just saying it looks just so smooth. The transitions, the steps, the footwork, the plant step, everything just looks effortless.
Yeah.
I like to spin after the catch. You know, some guys they start that rotation a little early and they forget the football. You see him secure a catch and then outside.
Yes.
It's perfect.
I don't
And
know
knowing
why.
too that he's going to turn outside, get the ball on the outside shoulder before you make your cut. Bang.
Yep.
Right. Protect the football. Coach Lynn says it's a one-step sit. What were you going to say, Jay?
No, I don't know why, but when I saw that, I just picture somebody right before the rep being like, Golden, don't do the twirl. He says, I'm not going to do the twirl. And then he catches it. I'm going to do the twirl.
Love it. And off in the background is that Savion running up from Taylor Elgersman. He showed some hands back here. You see what I'm saying in the background?
Mm-hmm.
So Savion showing some whoop, right? Pulled it in. All right. So there you go. There is your
magic. Rookies are going to do just fine with the occasional bad ball. They dealt with it a lot in college.
Yeah.
There you go. Anything else on Matthew Golden, boys, before we move on to the next topic here?
Yeah, Offensive Rookie of the Year 2025. Let's go.
Book it.
Yep. Love it. All right. So there you go, Matthew Golden highlights. All right. That's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour two, where we're going to continue with we're going to give you a little Brandon McManus update. Man, he is kicking lights out in camp. And then we're going to switch over to the defensive side of the ball, show you some highlights from training camp on defense. But we'll see you over there. We appreciate you.
For those of you listening on the pod,
welcome into hour two. Tim, you were gone last night. Jacob did for those of you listening on the pod live, man, it was solid. We probably need to re-record that. It was a beautiful thing for sure.
Here's the guy.
All right, so just a quick little Brandon McManus update here.
It's pronounced McMoney. It's Brandon McMoney.
Go ahead, get the paperwork file, get that name changed. Brandon McManus is 44 of 46 on kicks during team periods through 10 practices. He just hit from 42, 47, and 55 yards to end practice. What gets me excited, yes, the accuracy is great, but when you're still seeing those 55-yarders, you worry about the leg power starting to go as guys get a little bit older. Jacob, he's still got that power, bro. Still got it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I shudder to think that we could still have him, like you said, on the roster for maybe, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 more years. I mean, kicker, obviously, look at guys like Janikowski and some of the older ones that played until they were older than any time that I'd be able to play. It's pretty encouraging.
Yeah. And Tim has got some shots here actually from practice of Brandon McManus hitting these kicks, right? Little jaw.
Fun. I got lucky, man. I took a walk for a little bit and came back right as they were wheeling the goalposts over, and so I got to see him put a few up. This was with the wind. He was kicking with the wind on these three, but he also looked good against the wind today as well.
Nice. I'm gonna see if Mandy will let me invest in one of those setups. I'll get one of those out in the front yard. I'm sure.
Man, let's go.
Hell yeah.
Get out there and do that. Let's see what the next shot you got here, Tim. So you got several kicks here, right?
Yeah. So here's right hash, as you see right down the middle.
Right.
That first one was from the left hash, and then there's a third one. I think he's dead center, but you can really see him kind of just, this was just before the team period, so he was probably just getting loose here, just kind of figuring out the wind and getting it dead center. And you can see he's putting them right down the middle as he gets further into his drills. So I'm just glad we got a kicker, boys. A problem that we don't have to worry about, like Jacob was saying, for the next hopefully 2 to 3 years before we
at least.
Yeah.
How old is McManus? Does anybody know in the chat? Right
30. Just turned 30.
Oh, bro, we could have this guy for 10
34.
years.
Hold on, no, don't quote me. He just had a birthday. 34. 34. I think he's 34, which in kicker years is 26. So we're fine. He'll be around for a while, right?
Definitely. All right. It looks too old for this. They're never happy, Tim. They're
Right.
never happy, right?
Come on.
I had Danny Whelan clips last week. We had a couple.
Yeah, but I mean, we can't show punter clips live on the show. Like, what do we? Oh, or I guess we can. Here we go, sleeper packer. All right, got a Daniel Whalen kick video, guys. Watch the vertical. Look at the vertical spin on that punt. Boom, dead net.
You guys, I wish we could have the sound up. You got to just hear what his foot sounds like hitting that ball.
Just in case there's language, earmuffs, kids.
See if you can hear it.
Here we go. He's going to kick it right here.
Oh, yeah, you can hear that.
That's from 50 yards away, too.
Sounds like a 12-gauge shotgun right there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And again, though, yeah. What you see what I'm talking about with the vertical spiral? Like what you're doing there is you're deadening that kick. You're dropping it inside the 5. It's going to hit right on the nose and typically kick up or backwards, right?
Yep.
So you're just, literally pinning them right inside the 10.
Danny Whelan is the example of a complete punter. Like he can punt with skill and he's got the leg, right? You got the hang time, you got the distance. He can punt for accuracy.
Isn't he tall as all get out too?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
High snap.
Big guy, right? Exactly. So like, I don't know, man. We might have. I certainly think we have a top 5 punter in the NFL. Put it that way. Maybe even arguably the best in the league. We'll see how this season goes. But again, I'm really glad that we've got the Irishman back there booting them.
Yeah, Blake B says Nigel Gruff kicking the bloody piss out of it. I wish we had that.
Might have to get that one back.
Emilio will be so proud of that comment too. It's all about some Nigel in here. So all right, so there you go. There's just a little update on the special teams. Tim, you got some great footage earlier today of the defense prep, and I'll let you kind of talk about what you experienced over there, being up close with the defense. This one come in here. Let's see.
Wow.
You say
Nice
Coach
shot, Tim.
Ogabasi, right? Helping keep this group focused on the fundamental football. What's Coach O like over there? Keep it PG-13, of course, but
Coach is intense, but and he keeps it PG-13 for the most part. A lot of the defensive coaches do their intense. We don't get as much F-bombs as we had last year with some of the guys we had on the staff, but they're just stressing fundamentals. I see that Coach Ogabasi here, as you see Rashawn working on the sled. He wants them to press and release. He wants these guys to stay fundamentally sound and get off of their blocks and to do it right. And this is just repetition. They do this nearly every practice, some variation of it. And Coach Ogabasi seems to kind of be the, he's the war daddy. He's the general out there when it comes to these type of things. We all know about the ball king, and obviously Coach Covington is, the master of the plan. But it's fun watching Coach Ogabasi work with these guys, or VO as they call him. I believe that's Enigbare there, or I'm not sure who that is. It might be Devontae Wyatt.
It's definitely Enigbare. To me, Tim, he looks like he has the best rep. Watch how he throws this sled. Watch Enigbare right here. I mean, that's like, to me, it looked way stronger than even Kenny and Gary. So, listen, I know it's probably here's Wyatt right here. Now, what he's having them do is just press right, and then we're going to come in and press and release, right? Basically, punch and release.
Yep.
So let's watch Wyatt here. Kind of takes it off the screen, but yeah, he had a good one there too. It matters, man. That shed is absolutely huge.
You see, he made Kenny go back. Kenny does this first rep here.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get this first rep in, and okay, there's the press. Now he says, "Now I want the release." Yep. So this is what I'm talking about. Is they're wasting no time with the details, and you can see Halfley there in the background. There's your defense
watching everything.
Yep. So this is here's Rashawn, of course.
He looks good this year, man.
Oh my goodness, he looks like he's in the best shape of his life too.
Yeah,
just an absolute monster.
Definitely. We got another angle here. This came in from Sleeper Packers, and I think they actually posted the actual video. This may be the same exact drill here, Tim. It kind of looks like it, but it's zoomed out a little bit. So, whoa!
Oh yeah!
I almost want to unmute that just to hear it.
I'm pretty sure it's clean, Clayton, and there might not even be music going on in the background either. We might be able to run it.
We'll go about 3-4. So you see what I'm saying with Kenny? It's just kind of a minor relief, and then you watch the other guy. Gary's going to swing this after the rep. Watch him throw this thing. Nice. Nice. There you go. Just a little look down there on the sideline.
A little bit, for sure. And that's what you get. Well, that's what I was saying about Coach Ogabasi. He's loud, he's intense, but he keeps it pretty clean. So if you got the kiddos out at practice, you don't have to worry this year standing by the fence as much.
And then you caught Coach Covington, DeMarcus Covington, working with looking like they were working on a little 6-techs. What you were thinking here, is that right?
Yeah, that's what I saw when they started this drill. LVN, Brenton Cox Jr. I think you got Baron Sorrell in there too, Enigbare. Yeah, they were working on 6-tech, basically just the proper technique to get off. I think we might be able to get audio. You can run audio on this too, probably, if you want to hear them. he's kind of explaining it to him.
Mm-hmm. Brenton Cox Jr. looks like he's put on some weight too, man.
Yeah.
He looks thick. Little agility drill more so, right?
Yep.
What we got here
in the 6-tech, yeah. And he was. This is just a cool way to just see how he works with these players. Like he's so hands-on, so direct. He's right in there with them. You know, outside looking in, it looks boring. Like, what are they doing? Oh, they're not doing. He's watching every move these guys are making, every single move. And if it's not right, he makes them do it again.
Yeah, LVN too, man. I'm telling you, this edge room looks good. Sorrell looks like a damn man bear. He does not look like a rookie out there.
No, he does not.
So, really.
And Desmond Alexander there too, another guy to keep an eye on at this camp. Might sneak his way onto this football team. You never know.
You know what? Honestly, Afam, I'm really not even trying to make a joke. He was talking about, look at the length of Brenton Cox Jr. See how I cleaned that up? Because that could have went south. It really does, though. He looks like he's got a reach of just an freakishly. Like, I'm so excited to see his progression this year. I really am. Between him and Van Ness and then the emergence of Sorrell, I don't know which one I'm more excited about. And the possible resurgence of Kingsley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we've talked about how Clay saw how that get off was just powerful and explosive. I really do think that last year he was playing timid because his mind did not allow him to trust that knee. Can you imagine the rotation we could have even without a guy like Oliver or maybe even a Mosby if he ends up making the team like that? First rotating 5 is pretty good.
And it looks like Brenton Cox Jr. has 33 1/8 inch arms, which is pretty good, right? We talked about long. 34 is like kind of the holy crap, you know? So you guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but yeah, 30, right there on the verge of being 34 inches is really impressive with arm length. So we handled that very, very maturely. I'm proud of us. We're growing as a podcast. Unbelievable. All right. So up next, we got a clip. Listen, this might have been my favorite defensive clip of the day. And of course, it comes in from our buddy Baz over at Basarsky Productions. And I think it was Pack Clips that tweeted it out originally. I want to give credit to everybody here. Doubs versus Valentine. Listen, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to dog Romeo Doubs here. Okay. But as we've said this entire show, these drills cater to the offense, right? It's typically the offense beating the defense like a drum. What you've got here is Carrington Valentine lined up on Romeo Doubs. All right. And as Baz says, such a great rep, follow the hips and basically runs through the route with Doubs. Watch Carrington Valentine on this. This is absolutely amazing. Watch Valentine here, right? Inside, stay with him. Bang. You cannot defend that any better.
Wow.
Unbelievable coverage there. And again, Rome is a damn good route runner, right? Carrington, boys, and listen, I know we're expecting Nate Hobbs back week 1. Carrington is just waiting for his opportunity to break into that nickel 4-2-5 starting lineup. You know, I got to be real. If Carrington has a better camp than Keyshawn Nixon and Nate Hobbs is healthy and they decide to go Nate Hobbs on the outside and Javon Bullard on the inside, it's one of two things I could see happening here. I could see Carrington putting on such a good camp. Didn't we, Tim? I think you wasn't here last night. I think we had uncovered that Omar Brown leads the Packers in interceptions this camp, and Carrington's right behind him, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, we may end up forcing Nate Hobbs or Keyshawn Nixon in the slot if Bull continues to struggle a little bit and Keyshawn doesn't look as good on the outside. Is there a chance that Keyshawn ends up being the odd man out and going to the bench? You know what I'm saying? Because Carrington, dude, correct me if I'm wrong here. Does Carrington Valentine not look like a better corner than Keyshawn Nixon based off what we've seen last year and what we've seen so far in camp? Am I wrong there?
I don't think that's unfair. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far yet. I will say that I do agree if you're talking about a situation where maybe Bullard's still struggling with the coverages and we have a scenario where we have Hobbs, Keyshawn, and CV out there. I'm all for that. I'd like Hobbs in the slot, Nixon and Valentine on the boundaries. We also got to remember that in a pinch, Keyshawn can play in that slot for us too. Always was his better position, actually, was playing in the slot. I think the fact that he's kind of proven to be able to hold his own on the boundary is why he's in the conversation. But I'll agree, Clayton. Carrington Valentine's making a really good case for himself to move up that depth chart. And I would assume that he's going to get a little bit more reps in the preseason games than maybe Keyshawn. Obviously, he's going to get more than Nate Hobbs because Nate Hobbs isn't going to have any. So we're going to get to see a lot of number 24. And I don't think anyone's worked harder in this offseason to prove themselves and to be in a position to play good football in 2025 other than, Carrington Valentine, man. You can tell the guy wants it. There's a role on this team for him with the departure of Jair. And I think he desperately wants to step into that role. Bottom line, we're good with the personnel that we have in this DB room. But I don't think it's unfair to say that, Clayton, that, maybe CV has the edge over K9 right now. But you guys know I'm a big Keyshawn fan too. So it's hard to say anything negative about either of these guys. The way I feel, I want them both on the field all the time, if I could have it that way.
Ed Madden says CV closed out last year with 4 turnovers in the last 4 games. He's building on that. And that's the other thing I see. I think Ron Samuel said he's not great at run defense. I think he had 2 forced fumbles in the run. I know one was against a smoke screen. I think the other might have been against the run. We'd have to go back and watch it. But the thing that sticks out to me, and Coach Lynn, correct me if I'm wrong here, technique-wise, watch how Carrington doesn't try to be too aggressive at the line. Let him get past, and now that out-of-bounds line in the back of the end zone, Jacob, that's an extra defender, right? And it's just lock onto the hips like Baz was saying here. He plays it perfect here. He knows – he just seems like he's situationally aware. In both of his interceptions last year, Jacob, they came in the red zone. You remember that?
Yep. Yes, I do. And, it just like we talked about how fluid that Golden looked. That's kind of what I see with Carrington, the way that he's able to kind of read and react. To quote a wise man like Chubbs, it's all in the hips, baby. And he seems to have it. So, I am very excited. Obviously, I never want to see an injury to Nate Hobbs or anybody else on this team for that matter. But with injury comes guys that have to show up and show out. And I don't like I believe whoever it was it Ron or whoever said the highlight of him with the last 4 games, like that carryover, I believe is real. Carrington's going to carry over the success that he had at the back end when things started to click for him. Him coming into another year, again, with the half-league, 2.0 defense, I really do think that I could start to see the writing on the wall that Carrington Valentine could be CB1, bro. I really do believe in him that much. I do.
Yeah. And Ron Samuel says, Valentine on the run was a question. Hear people talk about it. We did an episode. You can go watch it, Ron, where we broke down his stops, his run stops, because we were like immediately, is this going to be an upgrade over Jair? I'm not saying that Valentine is a great run defender. Listen, how many cornerbacks are, right? Yeah. But if you watch Jair the last 3 years against the run, and you watch Carrington Valentine, it's not even close. Carrington Valentine is the better run defender than Jair here lately. Now, we know when Jai got to the league, he was a dog before that shoulder injury, right? So just something to kind of keep in mind. You can go find that video, though, on our YouTube channel. If you just go to our YouTube channel and search Carrington Valentine, it should pop up, and watch those run stops. It was really impressive. And again, some of those against smoke and bubbles, right? Smoke screens and bubble screens. But, yeah, I thought he played pretty well. So there you go. There's your defensive highlights from training camp. Let's dive into a quick training camp practice recap. Before we do, want to get your all's take. We'll start with let's start with you, Jacob. In terms of what we just watched, what stands out to you the most, man? It can be offense, defense, special teams, anything. What's the first thing that comes to mind from what we learned from the highlight reel from camp today?
To me, it's got to be Matthew Golden. Just the way that it seemed like I'll always preface that I was not the biggest fan. One, because I just didn't think he was going to fall to us. So I didn't do a lot of due diligence to him. I thought it was a long gone. Packers don't pick wide receivers in the first round, even when they base it, they are. It's just a thing. From him, from that point to now being in camp, and there seemingly being, and knock on wood, being no difficulty with whatsoever him getting the speed of the NFL, understanding the concepts, having whatever the kind of, we always looked at the highlight reel. I'm guilty of that for Bull. I saw Bull's highlight reel and I thought, oh my Lord, this boy there's no way that he can't play in the NFL. I didn't, necessarily see that all the time with Golden's highlights. You saw blips of it, but what he's done so far to this point, it just seems seamless. It seems effortless. He's seamless. It seems like the moment's not too big for him. He doesn't seem nervous or scared. He also doesn't seem overconfident or cocky at all. He literally right now has been perfect. And I don't want to, sound like too much of a homer, but we haven't worried about drops. I haven't heard one drop from him. I haven't heard anything about him being cocky. Like I said, overconfident. He's talked about how there's great camaraderie in the wide receiver room, how he always feels like he can lean on these guys, how he feels like he can already lean on just Jordan Love. That to me is really impressive for him to be just right out the gate. That just kind of flawless to me has been kind of a shock. And you see it now on film as well. Like just even when it's in slow-mo, the dude is just moving at a different gear. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's certainly one of the things that stood out, I think, to a lot of us, right, is just how polished he looks very quickly, almost to the point where we have to remind ourselves to kind of temper our expectations a little bit. And, players like this, you have to remind yourself that they are rookies. And, he is going to have a drop, guys. He is going to have an off day or a bad play. So we can't, act like it's the end of the world when it happens, or we can't, backtrack and act like we were all wrong about our excitement. We got to let Matthew Golden develop. But I think you make great points that he certainly seems like a guy who's ready for the moment. And I don't think his ego is not a problem, which is usually a rarity when it comes to rookies. Usually
and wide receivers.
Yeah, especially wide receiver rookies. Exactly. So I think Matthew Golden's the exception to that rule. To me, my big takeaway today, though, was Quay getting back with teams. Nice. That's my biggest thing I was excited about today for sure.
Good stuff, man. All right, let's go through the recap. Listen, some of this stuff we may have already talked about in showing the highlights, but the goal here is just going to be a separate video of someone, hey, I just want to get a quick recap of what happened at practice today. Tim, you add anything in that we may miss here? Same thing there, Jacob. So key news, injuries and returns. One starting defensive player, Quay Walker, participated in team drills for the first time in camp. Another starter, Nate Hobbs, might miss the rest of camp due to a knee injury requiring surgery. We talked about that. He should be back week 1, at least that's the planned timeline. Quay Walker returned to the middle of the defense after being limited to individual drills for the past week. First time since a playoff loss to the Eagles. They said he was playing Mike in the limited time. He had an 11-on-11s as well. Walker, I think it's Rasheed Walker, confident he'll be ready week 1 against the Detroit Lions. Suffered an ankle injury last season that's Quay Walker. I'm sorry, Quay Walker. Confident he'll be ready for week 1 against the Detroit Lions. Suffered an ankle injury last season that sidelined him for the final 3 regular season games. Returned for the playoffs, but not 100%. Underwent surgery during OTAs after realizing it was more than just a high ankle sprain. So we're getting the rest of the story there. Nate Hobbs suffered a knee injury. It's a meniscus last week from a collision. Opted for surgery on Saturday to avoid lingering issue. Optimistic for week 1 return with 1 to 2 weeks of practice before the opener. So it's just a quick little rundown.
BTA.
Anything I missed there, guys? Anything you want to add on the injury front? Tim, does that sound like a pretty accurate depiction of what we've seen there with Walker's? Anything that might be over embellished there? Because again, I went through, combed through, hey, give me all the updates you got, put it into a system and threw it in an article real quick.
I think with Quay, yeah, for sure. That seems pretty accurate. I would argue Quay's probably wanted to be back for well over a week, maybe the last 2 weeks. And they're just taking their time. So I don't think it's unrealistic to expect Quay to be a full go week 1 against the Lions.
Got it. All right. Jacob, anything else you want to add to the injuries there? We good?
No, just real quick. Chris, the casual end, kind of probably had the type of reaction I did when I heard just in passing around 3 o'clock today. He says, oh, no, Hobbs had surgery. Oh, I totally missed that. Puke. Yeah. It's not serious. It sounds like that, again, it was more of in his interview, they actually asked, I said, did they give you an option? They said, yeah, they did ask, whether I wanted to do this now, try to play through it. If I wanted to do it now, do I want to do it like today, tomorrow type thing? He said, let's do it today. They couldn't quite get him in on that Friday, so they did it on the Saturday. They also followed up and asked, what do you plan on starting to rehab? That was today, Tuesday, August 5th. He said, man, I started rehabbing on Sunday. So the day after. I said, I've been rehabbing. That's what I want to do. I'm going to keep my head down. So I would not be flipping out here, Chris, the casual end. I think that he will be back sooner than – what's a good Claytonism for that? Sooner than – I don't know. It'll be soon.
I don't have anything, I'll be honest with you, man.
I feel like we've been lacking on some new Claytonisms.
We try to be professional around here, Jake. I don't think it's any coincidence that I ended the Claytonisms, or what they're known as back home as the Mad Dog-isms. That's my dad. He every piece of material I've got came from him. But seems like when I stopped talking about it, the channel started growing, so I just stopped doing it. You know what I mean? We got to stick with what works. So,
I don't know.
I know maybe I can amuse you offline, but
Put
Jordan
that
Love
name in my mouth right there.
Clayton completed 13 of 20 passes. Jordan did. Clayton did. I promise you that. I would have been 2 of 20. Jordan Love's Day completed 13 of 20 passes. The highlight a strong third down sequence, 3rd and 8, or 3rd and 7 on 5 snaps. Completed 4 passes for 3 conversions there on 3rd down. So good numbers there. A stop screen to Romeo Doubs by Rashawn Gary. Strike to Malik Heath against Xavier McKinney for a 1st down despite pressure from Devontae White. So you see Malik Heath. Have we heard anything negative about Malik Heath out of camp yet, Tim? I don't think I've heard anything.
Not from anyone with a brain watching football. No.
All right. So, again, it seems like Malik Heath having pretty good camp. Screen to Josh Jacobs with Tucker Kraft's block for the 1st down. You love to see that. Errant check down to Chris Brooks, so a little inconsistency maybe there. Into the drill with the touchdown bomb to Doubs over Javon Bullard and Evan Williams. Doubs celebrated by running alongside the sideline with fans there. So that was
I just caught the ball.
So that was obviously over a 2-safety look there. The fact that they were both trailing makes me think might have been like a cover 6 look or something. You know what I'm saying? The fact that they were both in the vicinity. But nonetheless, that's how that played out. 2-minute drill started at the 45-yard line with a minute left and no timeouts. It stalled. Best throw was a strike to Jaden Reed for 23 yards. 3rd down conversion to Luke Musgrave to the defense's 32. Drive stalled with throwaways. A risky cross-body pass was incomplete. And incomplete deep to Josh Jacobs on a 4th and 10. Good coverage by Isaiah Simmons.
Here's the guy.
There you go. So, risky a cross-body pass. Me no want to hear that, Jan. You know what I'm saying? Want to get that out of the – of course, when it works, we go, boy, look at this arm talent, don't we? So, it's funny how that works. All right, the player of the day, Jaden Reed, in red zone one-on-ones. He beat Javon Bullard for 2 touchdowns from Sean Clifford. Double move and then a fade route, the additional catches in the 2-minute drill, and another noted play. Continued strong practices alongside Romeo Doubs. So you're seeing Doubs and Reed flash today, it seems like, in some of the team drills. Malik Willis had the play of the day. Hey, fam, going to be losing his mind here in a second, right? Play of the day, Malik Willis in the 2-minute drill. Willis led the number 2 offense to the end zone. Same scenario, ball at the 45, 1 minute, no timeouts left. 3rd and 5, ripped the pass to Will Shepard for 35 yards to the defense's 15. So Will Shepard, a little look there. 3 incompletes, set up a 4th and 10, but he connected with McCole Hardman on a fade for a touchdown to spot coverage by Kalen King. So once again, McCole Hardman.
Making this football team.
I think there's a decent chance we're carrying 7, boys. Could happen, right? Could happen.
His receiving is tough.
Look at it here real quick. We got the updated depth chart before we went live here too. Do we have to carry 7 or is it just 6 with Christian Watson going on the pup? Let's look at this. Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, Savion Williams, Dontavion Wicks, Malik Heath, McCole Hardman. You got to carry 7, right? Got to carry 7 if you're going to keep them both. I say carry 7, keep 2 tight ends, and you don't really worry about those tight ends getting poached. That's kind of so.
Yep.
And listen, that could change after practice tomorrow. You guys know how this goes. So,
yeah.
All right, 3rd and 5. We talked about that. 3 incompletion. All right, so we got okay. Here we go. 2-point play. Fake the handoff to Israel Abani Kanda and threw to Julian Hicks for the win using a funky. I like how I said funky arm angle. Look at that, man.
Funky arm angle. Band name called it.
There you go. Hardman quote, he just prayed. We don't have the exact quote, but he praised Willis for a good ball after a quick route adjustment. So Hardman just always, is it just me or does it seem like he's just a veteran on this roster, man?
He's doing everything right.
Yeah.
I think he knows what it takes to make a team. And it's almost like the teacher's pet that brings an apple to the teacher. I think he's doing a little bit of that. He's loving up on the fans. He understands that, like, if he gets a little exactly, he's got the little little Coldplay factor there for sure.
Yeah, Tucker Kraft. All right, so just showing that image of him. He looked good today, Tim. No, he's not limited, is he, man? That groin's good to go, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he didn't have a groin injury, so maybe that was just minor, something he tweaked, and they wanted to make sure it didn't get worse. But he looked excellent today.
I think that's why they kept him out of family night, just as a total precaution, and just said, we're not going to risk this.
It might have been too, Tim. It might have been. We know how Tucker Kraft is. He gets amped up, right? He wants to give fans what they want. Hey, don't even suit him up, and let's see what we got in these other tight ends. Let's let these guys get some extra work. And it could have been a little bit of that too. So
I agree.
So injury updates, new injuries. Tight end Messiah Swinson had an illness. All right, so don't really call that an injury, to be honest with you. Old injuries, we talked about it earlier. Christian Watson with the knee, Wicks with the calf, Hobbs with the knee, Wilson with the knee, Marshawn Lloyd with the groin, Kamal Haddon with the hip, linebacker Colin Oliver with the hamstring, defensive end Aaron Mosby with the groin, left tackle Quay Walker with the groin, offensive lineman John Williams with the back, Travis Glover with the shoulder. Returning from injuries was Savion Williams and Tucker Kraft. That's great news. Tucker Kraft back with the number one offense after missing family night, described as minor, just needing rest, wouldn't have missed a game. There you go. That's all I need to hear, right? He would not have missed. So
when you guys look at that list of injuries, like at what – you remember when we had that year when everybody was having the hammies, and there was a year when everybody had the pecs? I see the groin being a thing. To quote Meredith from The Office, groin injuries are the worst. Trust me.
I thought you were going to say to quote Meredith from your office.
From the Oval Office. No, I just like, honestly, is there something going on there where there needs to be some sort of attention paid to like how we're doing a certain warm-up, how we're not doing a certain warm-up? Like, does that anything kind of...
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Thank you, Coach. Yeah, I'm not a groin specialist myself. Tim, do you have any advice?
I would defer to Jacob for that kind of education, I guess.
Exactly.
But no, you guys know what, like when it's something like that, like if you have a full-on pull, then you're usually going to miss significant time. So if they're just holding you out, I mean, you could pull a muscle getting out of bed at our age, right, Clayton? I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's probably just a little tweak. So I don't think it's anything as significant as the hamstring epidemic we had the last couple of years. So
yeah. And just for the record, Clay, when you went and said, "Oh, we're growing up, we're becoming professional," the chat has not, and it's not. It hasn't even let up for like 25 minutes since we were on that topic. So,
and I'm tell you what happens here. Dennis Shook. When Dennis Shook shows up, don't look at the chat. I'm just telling you, shout
who?
Friend of the show. I don't let many people know that because of what he does in the chat, but glad you're back, Dennis. It's football season, baby. We made it. Dennis has entered the chat. Packers practice.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
I'm going to go rapid fire here because we're just about out of time. All right. End of game sequence. 3 specialty situations led by Coach Matt LaFleur. Ball at the defense is 45, 15 seconds, no timeouts. Needing a field goal. Love to read to the defense's 27. Clock the ball at 2 seconds. And Brandon McManus made a 42-yarder. Ball at the defense, 40, 10 seconds, needing a field goal. Receivers went deep, clearing space. Willis ran for 11 yards. Convoy blocked Kingsley Enagbare, slid out of bounds with 1 second. McMoney comes in, hits a 47-yarder. Then the ball at the defense is 37. Love extended the play, but missed Matthew Golden, potentially 15 to 20-yard gain. Didn't matter. McMoney said, I'll just hit this one for 55, guys. I got this. So, yeah, love to see it, man. Makes me sleep well at night. One-on-one battles, Romeo Doubs versus Carrington Valentine. Doubs caught a pass from Clifford. Valentine denied the corner route from Love. Doubs got revenge with a double move touchdown, so we didn't see that. Dobby having a pretty good camp, sounds like. Yep. Matthew Golden toasted Keyshawn Nixon on a slant after faking outside. Sorry, Key. I didn't type it up like that. The AI did so, but we did see the video. That was a clean route, man. Such a clean route. 11-on-11 plays. Here we go. Brenton Cox stopped Jalen White in the backfield, helped stop the jet sweep from Savion Williams. Then Savion Williams, terrific body control catch on the sideline against Bo Melton. So a little negative rep there from Bo, looks like. Evan Williams stopped the end around to Savion Williams for short gain. Linebackers are active. Isaiah Simmons, I'm going to highlight it. Isaiah Simmons ruined the quick pass to Shepard. Isaiah McDuffie limited Heath on a check down. Edgerrin Cooper stopped the toss to Jacobs. There you go. The linebackers having a pretty good day, sounds like. Errant shotgun snaps. This is what I want to talk to you guys about. Tim, I don't know if you heard anything about it or not. Elton Jenkins over Love's head. Jacob Monk replaced him. Donovan Jennings, we talked about him. They were giving him a little look at center, getting him some work. He was bad at snapping. Sounds like Elton's struggling here with the snapper. Are we concerned about this, man? Because we seen it in the Detroit game last year that you were at, but it was a monsoon, right? I mean,
it was, and Elton hadn't played center in a while, right? We have to remember the last regular reps at center was what, college for Big E?
No, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think is it concerning? Hell yeah, it's concerning. We can't have our starting center snapping the ball over our quarterback's head or at his toes. But I think it's early enough that they correct this, and I think the more he just kind of gets used to that role and settles into being the center one, I think we'll be fine. I'm not worried about Big E long term. But it does make sense to start rotating the supporting cast in there, because if he's struggling now, you can work one-on-one, off to the side and let some of the other guys get the team reps in and, kind of build a backup plan there at center, because, if for some reason, I don't even want to go there because it never even crossed my mind that maybe Elton isn't able to handle that.
I'm with you. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even want to go there yet. Let's see how this plays out. I'm sure he'll get this under control.
Izzy Abanikanda, big run to the right, blocked by Tyler Cooper and Anthony Belton. I want to see a lot of that right there. How about
Escalade, baby? Let's go.
What if Escalade just comes from the back of the pack, Jacob, and just takes the left tackle job from both Rasheed Walker and Jordan Morgan? How awesome would that be, dude?
Yeah, I would be pleasantly surprised, because at this point, I would have liked to see more, but I think that we have done such a good job of building up that room and having the rotational depth that we're not like other teams. I mentioned this earlier in the week, I think, where they got a second-round draft pick, a first-round draft pick, and they have to plug and play that guy. They don't have an option not to. One, because whether or not the GM, he thinks that his job's on the line, the fan base is about ready to absolutely burn the city down, whatever the case may be. We've got an absolute luxury here, the fact that we've got a good starting five that possibly doesn't include our first and second round draft pick of this year and last year. I know that's tough for a lot of Packer fans to swallow, but that's what it's called, man. We've mentioned for, I don't know, however many years we've done this podcast, that the best time to take a quarterback is when
you don't need one.
When you don't need one. And you can probably apply that kind of aspect and philosophy towards multiple groups. And I think that that's what the Packers do. It's why that we're perennially a player that's a contender, that's about to either make the playoffs and could make a run. And, I believe it's Ryan that said multiple times that, would you rather have you go all in, have a really great season, and then your whole organization is in tatters for the next 3 to 4 years because of the moves you made financially, fiscally, in the locker room, absolutely just blows up that team after that initial run? Or would you rather be consistently in the race year after year after year to the point where then other teams like the Lions, the Bears, the Vikings, they hate you because they don't have that sort of fluidity from year to year to year? I would much rather be the contested or the consistent contender is what I would do.
Heard it from a fan right here.
Playoffs?
Third down period, Willis quick pass to Heath. Kalen King leveled Heath after bypassing blocker Cornelius Johnson. Punt period, Javon Bullard as the gunner nearly tackled McCole Hardman on Daniel Whelan's bomb. So it sounds like Javon Bullard might be playing a little gunner. There you go. Right.
I like him in that role. I like that.
That could be that might
perfect
be
for him.
Yeah,
absolutely. Final period, Willis passes broken up by Micah Robinson and Tyron Hopper. You'd love to see that. Screen blown up by Enigbare. Nazir Stackhouse ruined a run. Carl Brooks stuffed Josh Jacobs on a 4th and 2. Corey Ballantyne broke up the pass from Sean Clifford in a return to Green Bay. Ballantyne, quote, familiar, but still learning, catching on quickly to schemes and special teams. So he's just trying to get reacclimated. Brandon McManus on the day, 8 of 9 on field goals, none shorter than 42 yards. He said, man, y'all go for it inside there. I ain't even worth my time. You got to get outside of 40 yards before I come out and kick a field goal. This is from 53. It hit the upright. Makes from 51 and 56 here, according to the article. Packers lineup notes, safety pecking order. No change for Omar Brown despite strong family night. That doesn't surprise me. I didn't think they were just going to all of a sudden throw him up the depth chart, right?
No, but isn't it good to see him doing well, Jacob? That's our boy.
I'm telling you, man. That's if that does someday come to fruition, that will be one that I will hang my hat on, and you as well, because that was nobody was talking about Omar Brown.
No. Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams with number 1. Katano Ladapo and Zane Anderson with the 2s. Sounds like Omar Brown's behind them. We broke camp last year with 5 safeties, right? So if you count Javon Bullard as a cornerback, which I personally do, that would be your 5 safeties there. So that's kind of how I see it. LaFleur on Brown, consistent, maximizing opportunities. We'll get more reps and notice. Looking forward to the preseason game. That's what I'm excited to see. Left tackle Jordan Morgan took first-team reps with Rasheed Walker out, so they're really pressing into that. What I'm looking for with this first preseason game, if Rasheed Walker does not play in the first preseason game, which I honestly don't expect him to, I could be wrong there, I want to see Jordan Morgan go in first, and I want to see Anthony Belton. Let's see what these guys can do at left tackle. Really see what you got there. Rasheed Walker could play if it was week 1, being smart with the treatment for the groin. Love that. Number 1 secondary with Hobbs out. Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine at cornerback, Javon Bullard in the slot. I think nobody's surprised by that. Number 2 offensive line due to attrition. Kadeem Telford at left tackle. Donovan Jennings left guard, Jacob Monk at center, Trey Hill at right guard, Anthony Belton at right tackle. So Anthony Belton getting a little right tackle look there like that. Tim, we kind of talked about it.
Yeah.
Let's say, and listen, I don't think this is going to happen.
I know where you're going. I'm right there with you.
This is just for entertainment.
Hypothetical.
Let's say Elton Jenkins cannot figure this center thing out.
Zach Tom goes to center, and we put Escalade at right tackle.
I'm just saying. And, what do you do with Elton? Elton is as versatile as they come.
Elton can go to left guard again. We could move Aaron Banks to right guard.
Or put Elton to right guard.
Back, yeah.
There you go.
Feel good about that. I'm telling you, man, every time we talk offensive line, I go right back to the Philly game and immediately following the game, and I put in big red letters on my note sheet, we've got to improve the depth of the offensive line. I think we've done it. And you've got multiple options, like you were saying earlier, Jacob. So, all right, interesting line. Brant Banks, left tackle, undrafted rookie. Aaron Banks, left guard, high-price free agent. Monk, center. Hill, right guard. Belton, right tackle. And then third linebacker in the base defense. This is kind of the big question. Probably 20% of our defensive snaps, maybe a little bit more this year, will be our base 4-3. Quay Walker back alongside Edgerrin Cooper. First rep went to Isaiah Simmons, then Isaiah McDuffie got opportunity. So it sounds like Isaiah Simmons might be that Sam backer. And again, the Sam backer some people, I don't want to say any names, former player, they still go back to 1997 where they think Sam backer means you got to be up there on the line and you're playing the run and setting the edge. Sam backer in today's game is you got to be able to cover that tight end. Got to be able to cover that tight end, play on the line of scrimmage as well. That's an important thing, don't get me wrong. But when you show a lot of underlooks, you want to make sure that guy has the athleticism to cover the Y down the seam. I think Isaiah Simmons is built for that. And now he doesn't have to try to learn to play safety, learn to play this position, that position. I'm excited about it. I hope Isaiah Simmons wins that third starting linebacker spot. What's your all's thoughts on that? And we'll wrap up.
I would agree. I think it's between the two Isaiahs right now. Zay McDuffie might be the safer bet just with familiarity and, being here these past few seasons. And, honestly, I mean, he catches a lot of heat, but I like Isaiah McDuffie's game. I've always liked the way he played.
Me too.
But I think, Isaiah Simmons is, first round talent grade, probably has a higher ceiling. I think it's healthy at this point of the year to have that kind of competition. Take turns giving these guys reps and see who you're liking better or how your defense is responding with the personnel. I'm with you, Clay. I think there's a shot that Isaiah Simmons maybe is that Sam backer. We'll have to see, though. Again, we haven't even had a preseason game yet, so more to look forward to this Saturday against the Jets. Keep your eyes on Isaiah Simmons.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I completely agree. We've talked about Simmons being a former 8th overall draft pick, was never utilized in the correct way. I think that when he was brought into Green Bay, that Hafley sounds like he sat him down and said, man, I'm going to make you like basically the commitment that we're not going to try to spread you all over the place like your peanut butter. You know what I mean? Like we want to actually have you stick in one spot, get real good at it. And then we'll maybe expound on what we can ask you to do once we know that you've got that solid base down. I agree with Tim as well that I trust Isaiah McDuffie as well. Like I think that's probably one of the highest floors that most NFL linebacker rooms could have, is a guy that's just been a steady Eddie, comes in. He's not necessarily flashy. Not going to make a lot of highlight reels, but he will come in and absolutely play, I believe, to whatever the coaches to say, hey, this is what we need from you in this game kind of thing. And he'll go out there and do exactly that. And I'm really excited about it. And I think that between the two of them, we forget still we got a guy like Tyron Hopper that could possibly come in a cinch or in a pinch, I should say. And if there's a problem with an injury or whatever the case, I have a lot of confidence in him as well, that we could stick with 5 in that linebacker room and be very confident that they could play a lot of different positions and play it at a high level.
We talked about that a few days ago, that it's a good sign to see Tyron Hopper taking those steps forward in his development.
Yeah.
Because if he would have hit a wall, we'd be having a pretty different conversation about our linebacker room.
Yep.
Yeah, completely agree. Holmes MD1 knocks it out of the park here. Says, looks like Clay might be on the couch again tonight. Shaking my head. Sorry, Mandy. Yeah, we're out of here. Appreciate y'all. Last night was rough.
Chucks, thanks, man.
Got all the smoke last night. So we're going to get out of here. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate you, man. All right, and I want to give a shout out to Godsmack AR69 becoming a member here on YouTube again. Appreciate you so much. We'll make sure you're entered into the giveaway this week. This week, I think we're going to do – let's see what we can do. Why don't we switch things up this week? Why don't we go with an autographed rookie LVN card for the giveaway this week? Now, how this works, guys, got to be a member on YouTube or a member of our Patreon group. I would recommend be a member of the Patreon group.
Patreon.
Get more content, a lot more interaction in there. However, if you just want to support the show, get into the giveaways, you can just click that join tab here on YouTube as well. Now, with that being said, we are looking for Donovan Schilling, Rich Beck, and Randy. That was the 3, that were in line to win the Musgrave card. Okay, Donovan Schilling actually won. If we don't hear from him, it'd be Rich Beck. If we don't hear from him, it'd be Randy. Okay, so we're just waiting to hear back from them, but we'll keep rolling on with the giveaways. LVN rookie card this week. So, Tim, Jake, appreciate you, boys.
Can I make one more quick shout out?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So if you guys want to enjoy the rest of your night, or possibly if you got something going on tomorrow, you got yourself maybe 40 to 50 minutes to listen to a podcast, I very highly suggest that you go back and listen to Ryan Schlipp absolutely gut the Chicago Bears as a team, as an organization, as a city, and Caleb Williams specifically. This morning's episode was chef's kiss. I mean, he absolutely pulled so many receipts, and he did it in such a nonchalant way. It was very, very impressive. And also, if you're not satisfied after that, the Athletic NFL podcast came out with I don't remember what the exact title of the season was. Basically, like bold, unprovable NFL takes or unbaked NFL takes. They went into it looked like it was almost by accident, but around minute marker 40, they talk about how the Green Bay Packers could be sneaky the best team in the NFL, or at least the NFC, how they could easily go 14-3, if not, and they went, and the 3 of them went back and forth over like a course about 10 minutes, and they kept getting more and more jazzed. And I was actually impressed about how they actually had a really deep well of knowledge about the Packers. They were even talking about how Musgrave could be such a great addition with Tucker and a bunch of the young guys, the coaching staff. It was pretty eye-opening to see that guys on that national level are actually looking at the Packers the same way that we are right now and getting hyped.
Get ready to go.
Yeah, he said. I appreciate that. And guys, scan the QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to Packernet Podcast. That's where you can find this show in podcast form. And like Jacob said, Ryan Schlipp's Packernet Podcast. Excellent, excellent podcast. So make sure wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Spotify, it's Podcast Republic like me, it's Apple, iTunes, whatever it is, go subscribe and feel free to give a 5-star review as well. We greatly appreciate that. So that's it, guys. We're out of here. I'm going to go save my marriage. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack, go.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.